Hey everybody, I'm Joey, and today we're gonna sous vide brisket steaks. You heard that right. I did say brisket steaks. One from the point and one from the flat. So follow me and let's turn up the tasty. All right, so our friends at Vide Wagyu sent us a full-blood Wagyu brisket. And we broke it down into steaks from the point and from the flat. Now in a previous video, we tried to grill them and they turned out, well, very tasty because it is Wagyu 100%, but it really wasn't tender like we'd want with a high quality steak or even a well-smoked brisket. So rather than give up on the idea entirely, we asked the question, what happens if we sous vide these puppies? Will they become more tender? I don't know. There's only one way to find out. We thought we'd give it one more shot before we ground all this Wagyu brisket up into some pretty tasty burgers. We're gonna feature that in another video, but we've included a link in the description below if you wanna check some Wagyu out for yourself, get a nice discount on your first order. This channel is all about my food journey, and that's just what we're on today. Look, I don't do a ton of sous vide on this channel. Of course, we've done some, and you will not find a better pork chop than sous vide, but we're really in uncharted territory here. You really can't find a sous vide recipe for brisket steaks. You can find them for brisket, but that's a very long cook, and these are just very small steaks. So to me, this flat cut right here, I mean, first of all, look, you can see all the marbling in that. As we thought about how to prepare these, I really thought about it as like a flank steak. And so what we're gonna do is vacuum seal these, drop them in the hot water, and let them cook at 135 degrees for 2 hours. I don't know, is it right? Is it wrong? There's only one way to find out. How would you guys do it at home? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But enough with the let's go ahead and get these puppies cooking. Okay, so I have these brisket steaks submerged in warm water at 135 degrees for the next 2 hours. I'm having a cheap, cold domestic beer wrapped up in a koozie of one of America's most overrated baseball teams. But let me show you how I kill 2 hours around here. Follow me. Yeah, 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 yeah. So when Braden Weens called me with this idea to break down 100% full-blood Wagyu brisket into steaks, I gotta say, I was a little nervous, but also was questioning, where do I begin? There is not a lot of information out there that gives a good tutorial on how to do this. We started by trimming the brisket as we normally would, and that took about 45 minutes. From there, we went ahead and removed the point from the flat. The reason that we did that is because of the fat in between the point and the flat we felt was going to be largely inedible when we grilled it. So it just made sense to go ahead and separate those two. After we did that, we cut the point and the flat into individual steaks about 4 fingers across. So if you had received the same call and the same cut of beef, how would you have broke it down? I'd love to know in the comments below. All right, these have cooked for 2 hours. Is it long enough? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. First, I'm gonna cut these open, pat them dry, and then we're gonna get them on that blazing hot grill right back there. I salted these before they went into the heat. A lot of the seasoning gets lost in the juice, so I'm just gonna go ahead and resalt these before I get them on the grill. I flipped over the grill grates to use the flat side to get more contact on these steaks as they cook. That is a beautiful color. Look at that. We're gonna press them down to ensure 100% contact. When we cut into these, it's important to remember to cut against the grain. So here on our point steak, the grains are running this way. Now we're gonna cut into the flat section. And on this one, the grains really run in a diagonal fashion. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. I gotta tell you guys, this is not easy cut right here. So I don't know how tender it's going to be, but I'm trying to cut it very thin. That will help improve the likelihood that it could be tender. All right, before I taste test this, I just want to take a moment to thank my friends at INTOTHEAM for sending me these comfy tees. I really enjoy them. If you want to check them out for yourself, we've included a link in the description below. Take a look at this right here. Look at it, would you? Look at all the connective fat that runs through there. This, again, is our point steak. And the point has a ton of intermuscular fat. That's where they make burnt ends from. Over here, we have the flat. That's much leaner cut. Take a look at the differences in the fat that's prevalent between those two cuts right there. Now here's the million-dollar question. Is it tasty? Let's find out. All right, so we have our flat. I cut this very thin, very thin. Oh yeah, that's a winner. That is a good cut. It's not quite as tender as you would see with like a ribeye or a filet. I got it real thin, and what I would tell you, it has a texture very similar to like a top round. So you're gonna wanna cut that very thin in this format, cut it very thin, but I could see myself making a nice roast beef Sammy out of this stuff. And what you're getting hit with when you bite into that is, of course, that rich umami flavor that's found in Wagyu beef. That's right, the fat is where it's at. You've heard me say it many times. That's where beef meat in general gets a lot of its flavor. And this is packed full of that good flavor. That's like eating thin roast beef. That is really good stuff, guys. I'm surprised. Now, let's check this out over here, our point. Look at that. The fat is where it's at, that's true. But it's gotta be that melt in your mouth fat. You get that fat in your mouth that ends up like some bubble gum. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna be spitting into your napkin at the dinner table, and that's no bueno. Nope. That's no good. The flavor's there. The flavor's 100% there. But that's bubblegum fat right there. That did not break down at all. As a matter of fact, I almost thought it turned out better when it was grilled. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would that happen? I mean, I think we would break this down if we sous vide it long enough, right? Like if I could let this go for 10, 15 hours or some, I don't even know if it needs to go that long. How long would you guys let it go if you did this at home? I really had no idea. I went 2 hours. That's about all the time we had left with the crew today. Let me give it another bite right here. I mean, this stuff, you can see it right here. I think that's gonna be real. Look, it doesn't even want to pull apart. How's it gonna chew? Look, I'm pulling. I'm putting some muscle into that, guys. Look at that. No, I don't need to bite that. That's not coming apart. My teeth aren't gonna do the trick right there. Oh, I'm disappointed. This is Wagyu beef, man. I really hate to see this not be edible, but it's just not. I mean, I'll try another piece for posterity. There's a lot of fat in that piece. It's not a good bite. Too much fat. It's tasty. It's Wagyu fat. It's rich. It's delicious. But now let's go back over here to our thin cut flat. Oh, that's good. So this comes apart. I mean, that pulls pretty decent, you know, like a roast beef sandwich almost. Like if I were to let this go a little bit longer, that would even be a smoother break. Throw it on some sourdough with the provolone, and that is tremendous. So I think what we learned here is that you can make brisket steaks. That's really interesting. I mean, it is Wagyu after all, which is going to be far more tender than even a prime brisket is going to be. So if this is what Wagyu brisket tastes like, I wonder how long you'd have to sous vide traditional, you know, choice, select, or prime brisket to get it to an edible state. But this Wagyu brisket is edible. We'd love to know, what do you guys think? What would you do different? Let us know in the comments below. Till then, I'm gonna grab my beer and I'll see you guys next time.